This week, Israel is engaged in an extended and violent conflict with Hamas. In an attempt to weaken the Palestinian militant group, Israel's defense forces carried out an intense attack on a densely populated area in Gaza, sparking global protests. The repeated attacks on the Jabalia neighborhood, formerly a refugee camp and now home to permanent housing, constitute the most severe offensive in Israel's history. Israel's move to dismantle Hamas has been criticized for its impact on the current humanitarian crisis. This has prompted multiple calls from different countries for Israel to accept a ceasefire and end the blockade. The forcefulness of the Israeli military campaign has put pressure on the United States, which supports Israel's right to defend itself. According to Israeli reports, more than 11,000 missile, bomb, and artillery attacks have been carried out in Gaza, a territory half the size of New York City and home to almost 2 million people. Human rights organizations have warned about the growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The Ministry of Health in Gaza, under the control of Hamas, has confirmed the deaths of 8,000 individuals due to the attacks. These bombings have displaced hundreds of thousands and left much of Gaza in ruins. Israel maintains that its strikes have knocked out key military infrastructure and eliminated senior figures in Hamas, a group considered a terrorist group by the United States. Additionally, Israeli forces have made significant gains during intense fighting. Israel's ground troops have reportedly neutralized several Hamas members, including members of the elite NCBA, the group's military unit that was involved in the October 7th massacre. The execution of these actions was carried out thanks to the valuable intelligence information provided by the Shin Bet security service. According to statements by the Israeli Defense Forces, their troops managed to neutralize NBA company leader Ahmed Musa and Nuga platoon commander Amr al-Hi, who were hiding in Jabalah. Musa, identified as one of the Hamas leaders, was accused of leading the attack on the nearby Sikkim kibbutz base and another military outpost in the area during the October incident. Recently, Ahmed Musa was leading offensive operations against Israeli forces in the western Jabalah region. Additionally, Israel's defense forces reportedly eliminated Mohammed Klut, the head of the sniper unit in the northern Gaza Brigade of Hamas, a listed terrorist organization. The elimination of these leaders has significantly weakened Hamas's ability to carry out attacks. In a separate incident, troops from Israel's 252nd Division were reported to have eliminated 19 Hamas operatives who were planning to attack soldiers. According to Palestinian media reports, Israeli defense forces demolished the Hebron home of two brothers accused of the murder of Bethzabi Nigri during an armed attack in August. Bethzabi Nigri, a 42-year-old mother of three, was the victim of a fatal shooting near Hebron, where she lost her life in a vehicle attack. This tragic event took place in front of her daughter, who was also seriously injured. Two suspects, Zakir and Mohammed A. Shanter, were arrested by Israeli security authorities, presumably related to the incident. In line with its stated policy, the next day Israel proceeded to regularly demolish the home belonging to Palestinians accused of orchestrating deadly terrorist attacks. This policy has generated intense debates, including within the Israeli government itself. While security authorities support this measure, human rights defenders denounce it as unfair collective punishment. In addition, Israel announced a significant deployment of ground forces in Gaza. According to Michael Horowitz, head of intelligence at Israel-based consultancy Lebec, troops appeared to be carrying out excavations along Gaza's northern coast, seeking protection and backing from the Israeli Navy. Horowitz reported that Israeli troops were conducting brief raids into central Gaza to attack Hamas, and then withdrawing to more protected areas. The escalation of the air and ground offensive was triggered by a call from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for his government to wage war to dislodge Hamas from power in Gaza, where they have maintained control for some time. This war strategy marks a markedly different approach to the previous conflicts that Israel has faced, at least since its invasion of Lebanon in 1982. The broad objectives of this fight reflect Israel's firm resolve to attack Hamas leaders in their homes and underground compounds with fewer limitations than in the past. The attacks and massive bombing campaign underscore the delicate balance Israel seeks to maintain between eliminating Hamas and minimizing civilian casualties in an urban environment mixed with residential areas and an extensive network of underground tunnels. Israel has justified the tactics used in the air offensive, arguing that it previously urged Palestinians to evacuate northern Gaza as a protective measure. More than 1,400,000 people have left their homes, most moving south or seeking shelter in hospitals, schools, and international aid centers, trying to get away from the fighting. Israeli military spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagar acknowledged the presence of civilians in the area and the possibility that they will be affected by the operations. However, Hagar emphasized that Hamas commander Ibrahim Viari was identified as a legitimate military target. According to the spokesperson, Israel always prioritizes the neutralization of combatants, even when considering the well-being of the civilian population. Israel's defense forces have used a wide variety of weaponry and arsenals during these attacks. Following the devastating attack launched by Hamas on October 7th, there have been multiple requests from Israel to American suppliers to obtain as many drones as possible, in the shortest possible time. This is based on testimonies from both American and Israeli drone managers involved in Israel's military process. Increasing demand came from both government entities and the Israeli military, as well as civil organizations interested in small, easy-to-handle drones, which have been gaining popularity in the civilian sphere. Sources close to the transaction indicate that thousands of commercial drones were shipped to Israel in the weeks following the announcement of the deal. Some of these drones were produced in the United States, while others were manufactured in China, but acquired through American intermediaries, according to the informants. Currently, these drones are being used for tasks such as searching for hostages, collecting information and protecting communities, as mentioned by Bobby Sakaki, a consultant specializing in drones based in Salt Lake City. In times of conflict, the choice between using drones from the United States, China, or American manufacturing is not about a political stance, but rather about seeking strategic dominance in contemporary warfare. Drones, once primarily associated with the film industry or amateur entertainment, have become a standard item, regardless of the military capability of the opponent or the topography of the battlefield. Chinese-made drones can be purchased for a few $1,000s and have the ability to capture real-time aerial images from heights of hundreds or even thousands of meters. In contrast, American drones tend to be about 5 times more expensive than their Chinese counterparts due to their greater complexity, and not being intended for non-professional use. However, several experts believe that many of the world's largest armies are not adequately prepared to face the new dynamics of conflict. Hamas has been using commercial drones to attack Israel, while the latter lacks enough drones to defend itself. Ido Gur, an Israeli Air Force veteran who currently resides in California and serves as managing director of the American drone company, Easy Aerial, claimed to have received requests through WhatsApp for the purchase of drones just 12 hours after Hamas began his attack. In times of war, needs are constantly changing, and as we have observed, Israel is seeking to acquire any resources that may be useful at that time. This underlines the agility and adaptability needed to respond to conflict situations. Thanks for following us.